Ladies and gentlemen, I have a shocking story for you today. The cuck himself, Sneako, is being dishonest. I know. I was shocked when I found out. I never thought that he would do this, but yes, he is in fact being dishonest about the whole punch situation. So in my last video, I talked about how Sneako got into an altercation with a security guard. It got to a point where Sneako flicked the security guard's hat off of his head. The security guard then turns around and Falcon punches him. And it is, of course, one of the greatest videos that I've ever seen on the internet. Just absolute cinema. And so now Sneako went on the Fresh and Fit podcast, and he is absolutely coping. So this clip starts, and Sneako asks the women around the table, he's like, you guys are pro-Palestine, right? Right? You guys are pro-Palestine.
Okay, well, first, to preface this, are you guys in support of, you're in support of Palestine, correct? Like unanimous at the table?
I don't care.
You don't care about genocide? Okay, besides the point.
And it's like, oh my God, how terminally online are you? Because one of the girls responds, and she's like, I don't care, respectfully. And he's like, you don't care about genocide? And here's the thing. This goes to people on both sides. Most people don't care about the situation. Good for you that you've looked into it and you've looked at all the details and you've decided who's in the right and who's in the wrong. And so you have a strong position. But most people have not done that. Most people don't care to do that. You know, the reality is that we can't care about every single thing that happens. Like, sorry, most of us have full-time jobs. A lot of us have kids. We have people that we take care of. And most of us are just out here living life and just don't really have the time or the desire to look into a conflict that's happening across the fucking ocean. Obviously, it's a war. People are dying. Innocent people are dying. That's horrifying. But to be like, don't you know there's a genocide? It's like, yeah, and we constantly hear people saying that Israel is getting genocided and that Hamas are like terrorists and January 7th. This is like, I'm sorry, but I don't have a solid opinion on the whole situation. And so he explains that the reason why he brought that up is because the event was an America First event. And he talks about how Nick Fuentes was there. And, they were going to speak and say their shit.
Anyway, there's a genocide going on in Palestine, and there's a nation of Israel that's committing the genocide. And there's this movement called America First, which is the strongest American movement that's resisting that right now. So I went to support my friend Nick Fuentes, who had an event, gathering a lot of people who are pro-America First.
And so he explains that the America First people are apparently pro-Palestine and anti-Israel. And so Sneako asserts that that's the reason why the people that own the venue kicked them out, is because they're pro-Israel and America First is pro-Palestinian.
But they canceled the venue. Want to know why? Because the people who own the venue are in support of Israel. And so they had to move the event 3 times. And the event was he had to go on the streets with a megaphone.
And Myron actually asked a good question because he's like, hold on, Sneako. So you found out for sure that the people that own the venue are Zionists? And Sneako's like, well, why else would they kick us out?
So it kept getting pushed.
Y'all found out that they said that there's Zios?
Yeah, definitely. Why else would they cancel after they found out that it was America First?
They're trying to say that they didn't know that it was going to be him. But I'm like, that's bullshit. Yeah,
that's
I was going to say,
lie.
I know that's bullshit.
So it's got to
Nick Fuentes, and I assume the same goes for all the other speakers that were there if they're a part of America First, they are controversial people. They have a lot of controversial opinions, right? Like Nick Fuentes will talk about how different races have different IQ levels, and he believes that it's because of genetic reasons. He's talked about how he doesn't necessarily believe the narrative of the Holocaust. He believes that, things happen differently. Obviously, I don't want to get into any of these topics. And so maybe you agree or disagree with some of what Nick Fuentes says. I'm quite frankly not qualified to talk about it. The idea that there's no other reason aside from their position on Israel and Palestine that the event organizers wouldn't want to host them is beyond dishonest. And so Sneako asserts that once the people that own the venue actually started hearing the speeches that were being given they started unplugging microphones and they started playing music to drown out the speeches.
But when they started hearing the speeches, they started messing up with the event. They started playing loud music. They started interrupting the speeches. And when Nick Fuentes was supposed to speak, they started interrupting. They unplugged the microphone. They cut it off short. They started blasting Sexy Red.
We don't know what was being said in those speeches. Knowing Nick Fuentes, it is entirely possible that they were saying some out-of-pocket shit. And the thing is that you don't really have the right to be at a venue, right? Like, at least from what I understand, I'm not a lawyer. I'm pretty sure you can get kicked out for whatever reason, unless it's because of like your race or your gender or, whatever, stuff like that. Maybe they were talking about the Israel and Palestine conflict. If they want to, from what I understand, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I think they have the right to do that. They don't want you talking about that at their venue. And so now we get into the interesting thing, right? Sneako says that it was the security guard that was actually doing all of this, right? That was messing with the event. And Sneako asserts that the security guard started calling women whores, which, by the way, you were on the Fresh and Fit podcast. The pot is indeed calling the kettle black in this situation.
And the guy who was doing it, maybe he got a call from the manager, but it was a security guard. And the security guard started taunting everybody, flicking everybody off, like flicking people. He was calling women whores in the beginning. Like a woman next to me, my friend Dr. Lupus on Twitter, called her a whore, called her daughter a whore, all this stuff.
And then Sneako just straight up lies. Sneako says that he taunted the guy, and then the guy Superman punched him.
And I taunted back, and then the guy jumps down, does a big Superman punch, hits me in the face.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Cucko, Sneakster, we have you on camera. You did not just taunt him. You flicked his hat off. I gotta say this as well. The Fresh and Fit podcasts are a joke. Like, they constantly talk about how, women don't take accountability for their action, and modern women are bad, blah, 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 blah. But their friend cops on here and starts straight up lying about the situation, and they don't call him out at all. But to give them a little bit of credit, Myron does ask him. He's like, people are saying that you flicked his hat first. And Sneako doesn't deny it.
The other important thing also to note is that people try to say that you flipped his hat, but he flipped your hat first.
Well, it wasn't. He was flicking people in the front of the crowd. Like, you could see him flicking people. So I taunt back.
You touched him. You flicked his hat off. That's not a taunt. Have you never played a fighting game? When you taunt, you're not actually attacking. No, motherfucker. You put your hands on the guy. The guy put his hands on you. Be a man. Own up to the shit that you did. Take accountability. Like you guys say that modern women should take. Take accountability. You fucked around and you found out. And then Sneako admits to a fucking hilarious thing. He admits to actually going out and like trying to unplug the speakers that were playing the loud music.
And that's when it started. And I was getting upset. I mean, the one thing that I do have to say, I was a little bit annoyed that there were not other people. Like, we saw the security guard taunting everybody and unplugging the microphone. I was trying to unplug the music. Like, the fourth venue we go to, people are all over the world to come to Detroit.
Yeah.
People came from Copenhagen, from all over the world to see us.
2,000 seats, it was sold out.
And they're going to try to sabotage it. I want to stand up for that. So.
Again, these influencers that really think that they can just do whatever the fuck they want. They really think that they can just walk up and try to touch other people's stuff. They think that they can put their hands on people. They think that they can flick people's hats off with no repercussions. It's just insane to me. It really is insane to me. And then they play the video.
See him taunting everybody.
You see the guy get his hat knocked off. Nobody acknowledges it. So yeah, all of these guys are beyond pathetic, right? They talk about how modern women can't take any accountability, and in real time, they are caught in 4K high resolution, 120 frames per second, not taking accountability. But of course, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I don't know, are there any Sneako defenders out there? Do they exist? I mean, I'm sure they do. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!